Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this new key, the key 72, entitled Christ Dimension. Dimension or dimensions, whatever. Well, what it's about, concretely, it's the first video with a series of 4 of them. We're gonna spend 1 month together regarding this very crucial and interesting topic, which is Christ Dimension. Just one thing to start, as a disclaimer, I just want to say, of course, there is no blasphemy. There is absolutely not any proselytism. It means that it's not an orientation. It's even not focusing on Christianity, not at all. It's just to come back on the essential things and points and elements regarding the concept of Christ Dimension, which is not an ownership to anybody, to any institution and so on, is not this at all. This is just universal. And you can even hear universal, all, like for everybody. And secondly, universal, like S-O-U-L. Okay, universal. So it's not supposed to belong to any institution, religion, and so on, because these profound messages are universal. I insist drastically, because it's actually belonging to all types of spiritualities. All the messages never changed. Okay, all the messages remain the same. They have just been sometimes interpreted differently, okay? Because if I talk to someone and then you repeat and so on, over the time, you can imagine after a few centuries, it can be perceived differently, okay? So we're gonna spend quite a lot of time to come back on these essential messages, the essence, okay? Regardless the form, the content. This is really important. So, concretely, Christ, it's coming from Greek, okay, which is Krystos. Krystos literally means crystal, okay, crystal clear. So what does it mean? It means that is just the fact to purify your heart and purifying thereby your soul, and to, let's say, to become enthusiastic. Enthusiastic, I told you that in Greek it means crossed by God or crossed by divinity. So concretely, it's because you purify yourself regarding the all low vibration, the trauma, the hate, the anger, and so on, that you are in peace. You reach salvation. And that's why we saw previously is not innocent. Of course, there is a continuum, there is a common thread in all what we see, even if all the videos can be watched independently. But let's say that we saw evil, okay? So, and we saw that evil is a part, and the dark side of everybody. Everybody has some shadows, and the goal is to not to struggle, but to embrace them, to neutralize, to be in peace with that, and thereby with the world in general, and human beings, and so on and so forth. So that's essentially this. Yeshua, whatever the name, Yeshua, okay, Yeshua is coming from Greek, Jesus coming from Latin, and Isa in Arabic, and also it's used in Sanskrit. It means that it's part of, let's say, Hinduism, Buddhism. It's part of also Islam, because Isa is one of the 5th biggest prophets in Islam. It's part of it, and we will see this. I can tell you a little bit in advance, but when the Muslims say that at the end of the time, the Christ will come back, Isa will come back, okay? It doesn't mean this character of Jesus. It's the activation of the Christ part within everyone. It means the divine part within everyone. That's the subtle message of this. And you can talk to esoteric Muslim, that's to say Sufi, for instance. he will agree on this point. And same for the esoteric Christian and so on. So what I'm gonna try to show you here when I say it's universal, this is concretely the goal is to clarify it, to dust off in a certain extent some preconceived ideas, and also to put together the different pieces of the masterpiece, if you get it. Okay, so to put together the different pieces of to get the big picture, and also to stop this separation, which is just vain and has been used for power, for many things like divine and conquer. Okay, so we need to clarify that. Actually, here I'm in Turkey, okay, in Anatolia, which is in the center of Turkey, if you know. This is the oldest part in the world. Göbekli Tepe is 400 kilometers from here. It's the first civilization in the world, even before Sumer. I refer to history. It's something like 12,000, 14,000 years ago, which is incredible. What I wanted also to show you here, maybe you cannot see for this angle of view, but actually everywhere here it has been burned. There was the fire last year, and we can see already that nature is coming back. So it's like a renaissance, a rebirth. You understand? It's like the phoenix, okay? It's like a resurrection, okay? So this is a principle, is a metaphor of through the fire, it's a purification and it's coming back. It's endless, okay? It's a notion of cycles as well. So it's a symbol, and actually, I will try to spend a bit of time with you with different perspective. Okay, what's my legitimacy to talk about that? I have no. Okay, but it's just the fruit of my personal, humble, let's say, feelings, researches for almost 40 years now, and also the testimonies of the different culture I met, and with great wisdoms as well. 66 countries in the world with different culture, and of course this is an enrichment. Okay, so this is also the fruit of all this, and also some kind of intuition, downloading, if you want to hear that, or channeling, whatever. It's not big deal to put a word for that, but this is essentially this. So of course is referring to many philosophy essence like Essenes, okay, the community, okay, who taught Jesus apparently, for which John the Baptist was belonging apparently. Essenes, the Jewish community and esoteric community, also the Sufism, also the Gnosticism. Okay, Gnosticism means, in Greek, it means knowledge, basically. So you have Gnosis, almost, I mean, it is equal to esoteric. So we could say there is the Jewish Gnosticism, which is Kabbalah. There is also Christian one, and so on. Okay, and for Muslim is Sufism, and so on and so forth. So, but what I try to tell you, that we will try to see that the messages never change. It's systematically, not some updates, or I mean some clarification. And that's really important to consider that as a continuum, as chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on. And maybe volume 1 and volume 2, okay, for Western religion, okay, monotheist, and Asian philosophy, for instance, for which we saw so regarding God, and we will see in the future. I will do a special key regarding the similarities between religions, and yeah, just to clarify. The goal is to reconcile, okay, tradition, culture, religion, spirituality, and also the new trends, okay, sometimes a bit in the cloud also, new age, but just to clarify and to take different sources, to try to understand the Christic era, or the Christ era, okay, the age of Aquarius, the golden age, and so on and so forth, it means the same thing. But before reaching that 5D, for a fifth dimension and so on, is almost roughly the same. Before that, there is a period of transition, okay? Jewish call it Armageddon. Catholics are calling it Apocalypse. Apocalypse, I told you, means revelation. It means take it out the veils to unveil the illusion of the reality. The real, to realize the real lies with real eyes, okay? Like the Maya, okay, in Hinduism, when you take it out, the Maya, I mean, the Maya means the illusion of perception, because we are limited by our senses and so on, our culture, our education, and blah, 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 okay? But the goal is, because at the beginning of this period, it's hard, it's difficult to accept. And the goal is to fall down in the low vibration, because I shit and so on, the system is, no. The goal is to realize that, to realize the real I am with the experience of what I don't want, what I'm not, and so on and so forth. The Muslim call it Dajjal, and so on and so forth. So, Kali Yuga for Hinduism. So, concretely, what is it? Is a transition and is a notion of choice. We are invited to choose what we want and what we don't want, what we are, what we are not, okay, the true I am. So it's a kind of, and the two expectations are love, unity, and fear, segmentation. This is in the miracle course, the book. You can find these two polarities, but not only, you have almost in all spirituality. Here it is, the big picture for you to have the overview of and the vision of what we will see. First, introduction. Secondly, Christ, a state of mind, very important. 3, Christ, not a property of Christianity, a universal aspiration. 4th, the essential basis of Christ messages. So we'll have the 12 pillars plus 8 very important information. So 20 existential messages conveyed through Christ dimension, and which is, you can find them almost in most of spirituality, but these are really key points. 5, teaching received by Jesus. Okay, so yes, where this knowledge comes from. Okay, it will be one of the question. The age of Christ, the age of Aquarius. 7, transposition with the natural spirituality, paganism, shamanism, astronomy, and so on. We'll make a lot of parallels. When I say transposition, it means that we will come back from Christmas, from Eastern, or even, this is systematically older celebration and natural spiritualities, old as humanity almost. That to say equinox, solstice, and so on. I told you 12 to 14,000 years ago, here in Turkey, they didn't have any labels, but they were celebrating solstice and equinox and so on and so forth. So they have been substituted. Okay, like a lot of sites, place where you have a temple, a mosque, a church, and so on. Usually, they have been used as the energetic, let's say, power of this location. Okay, so it has been substituted most of the time. This is really important. We will see that, and we will see also the notion of astronomy with the last part, which will be an opening to Christ era, but also 5D, and also the fact that this is a notion of cycles. Okay, Aquarius period and so on, before a fish period and so on, which is astrology and a notion of cycles. And this is almost a kind of repetition, okay, all the time with, let's say, increase and then a kind of collapse. Well, of course, I insist, it's a notion is more cultural than religious, my approach. You know, it's when I say all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home, what does it mean? All the roads lead to Rome. Rome is the materiality. okay, the physical city of Rome in this period of time, but in Italy, okay. To the dome is kind of temple, okay, in the sense of contemplating, to open up the inner temple. And to home as well means to be in peace with yourself, okay. Know thyself, you will know the secret of God and the universe. It means that, okay. So within this sentence, I try to evoke all of this, okay. So it's subtle, but at least is important. Also in the notion of there is different roads. This video, I just finished it just before in French. Does it affect the content? Not at all, okay. It's just the form changing, the language, the tone change, but not the content. The form change, not the content. Okay, I could have in other different, let's say, languages, it will not affect the messages. So it's the same thing for different spiritualities and religions and so on. And especially in a perspective of esoteric part, that to say the hidden part of the iceberg, not necessarily for the mass, and so on. So, as Gandhi said, if we could read the holy scriptures of the different religions, we would find that they are identical and they complement each other wonderfully. Okay, so they are complementarities. This is basically what he tried to say. If we could find, if we could read properly, he tried to explain, and he's Hindu. He's not Christian, he's not Muslim, he's Hindu. So it's supposed to be far away from the monotheism. And I explain in the Key of God that polytheism is just, there is necessarily Brahma in Hinduism and so on. There is necessarily at the top of the pantheon the big God, the creator. Okay, so there is no differences. Okay, there is abilities of God through the different gods, but it's the same unique God systematically in all the religions. Okay, reincarnation, I will talk about this in the future again and again, but I talk already in the Key 41 about regarding death, and I explain that in all esoteric part of monotheism, it's in Kabbalah, in Gnosticism, and also in Sufism, reincarnation is a part of the initial messages. Okay, so this is important. You know, I like to say religions are comparable to highways. They're esoteric parts to some tunnels, spirituality to side roads. Okay, and then actually the mystical experience, they contribute, they stand for springboards, okay, to broaden your perspective, to discover other endless horizon. What does it mean, all this? Highway, there is asphalt, so it's easier to drive on it. Spirituality from the backside is a little bit dangerous, and more because if you don't have any guidance, help, and so on, it can be more dangerous. I'm not saying that it's bad or it's good. It's when I say esoteric are undergrounds, tunnels. Okay, it's symbolic. Why? Because it means it's hidden. It's more delicate to perceive to people, and it can be scaring. Okay, why? Because it's deeper, of course. And the last one, mystical experiences. When you have astral travel or alternate consciousness experience, I can tell you that it's practice, it's experience. Okay, it's experiment. You experience it. It's different than the theory. It's the practice. Okay, so it's enlarged differently your consciousness. Well, very important. I insist a lot. Christ's essence is a state of mind. Is a state of mind. It means it's not belonging to anybody. It's just an access to a frequency. Like you can have, you know, your tuner for radio, FM, free waves, medium waves, and so on, low waves, and you catch a certain program, sport, music, whatever, is this, okay? So, concretely, you know, it's like Epicurus. Epicurus, we think most of the time when you say, oh, it's very Epicurean, okay? We say that's for people very down to earth, but it's not true at all. It's the same principle that the Christ messages. This is the symbol of cross. Alignments, horizontal alignments, that you say to be peaceful with physical life, that to say good food, nature, making love, and so on and so far, which is super positive, is honoring God through different perspective. And then vertical means an alignment, vertical alignments means that you are feeling you're in the spirituality, I mean operational spirituality, but actually beyond of that, this is what I baptize holy style of life, means that you can activate this spirituality every time, every single second. Okay, when you make love, when you have a good food and so on, yes, you can be grateful for everything. When you pray for your food, when you eat, when it's delicious and so on, you can say it's divine. It's not blasphemy to say that. It's just honoring. Okay, the fact to have been for certain people the vision, oh no, it's not good to enjoy life. We are here to suffer and so on, and we will have a reward later on in the paradise and so on. I'm sorry to tell you that apparently is a little bit limited vision. We can also honoring life in a day, I mean, in your daily life, to be a good person, to help people, to be in the compassion, to be grateful for everything. And in parallel of that, to pray, to do what you have to do according to you, if you think it's good, of course. And this is not antinomic, it's not in opposition, it's a complementarity. And this is the symbol of the cross. First is like Epicurus, I told you. Also, the notion of physical and metaphysical. Metaphysic means, meta means behind the physics, okay? The teaching in Christianity with Petrus, Peter, means the stone, okay? The physical is more for hygiene, for roads, to avoid people kill each other and so on, okay? But this is not the deepest part, it's the visible part of the iceberg. The real one has been, taught to Miriam, Mary. Concretely, without doing a Da Vinci Code bis, but a lot of people think they would have been in a couple, okay, with Yeshua, Jesus. And by the way, just one little detail, which is history. Jesus preached at this period of time in the temple, synagogue, and so on. You cannot afford, if you're not a rabbi, a beth, okay? Beth-din, okay? So, what does it mean? It means that necessarily he was a beth-din, he was a rabbi, okay? But how you could be this? Only if you're married. So if you're not married, you cannot, okay? So, it's probably the divine couple, like what we call parage, okay? But anyway, just without going too far, maybe they had a offspring, why not, okay? And certain theory thinks they left to south of France, and that's the old legends regarding the Qatar, the Templars, and with the lineage, and with the first kings of France and so on and so far. And then further than this, and even other people like Jeanne d'Arc, if you know her, it's a French symbol, characters. Well, anyway, just to tell you, true or not, up to you. But even that's probably is not so important, because is a notion, is the same principle of the Holy Grail. taking the Christ blood. It's this we want to show, or this is just a symbol. You know, when you see the Y, okay, holy grail. When I say holy style, it means saint, but also the symbol of the grail, holy grail, Graal. Graal, it means literally, coming from Old French and so on, king blood. Okay, so it would be something like not necessarily the offspring exclusively, but more maybe a potential Christ dimension within anybody, regardless their culture and so on, so forth. Okay, so I invite you to think about that. So Christ, I insist, is a state of mind, is not a person, is not Yeshua only, is not Jesus, is not Isa. It is just, it is. It is the true I am. Okay, this is the universal religion is love, basically, light, love, same, unity. Okay, but concretely, when he say, before Abraham was, I am, this is Jesus supposed to say that, John 8:58, okay? Before Abraham was, I am. So, historically speaking, it seems to be not true, okay? Because Abraham is 3,300 years before Jesus Christ, okay? So, but he just tried to explain that before Abraham was, I am. I am. The I am is not Jesus expressing, it's just God expressing. And this is just this vibration, the Christ vibration, the activation of the potential divinity within everybody. Okay? We'll see, that's in the next video, we will see that one of the messages, the kingdom of God is within you. Okay? We cannot be more explicit, right? So, the I am is the divine essence, I insist, is the materialization, is the divine manifestation, becoming flesh, if I can afford. But I insist, Christ means, comes from Krystos, crystal, okay, crystal clear. It means the fact to purify yourself and to take it out. It's the same principle than the vitriol in alchemy, in Hermetism. What is it? It means polish the stone. Actually, in English, it's visit the interior of the earth, and by rectifying, you will find the hidden stone. The hidden stone, the philosopher's stone, concretely, is the fact to purify yourself. It's a metaphor. It's mystical, of course, and it's not necessarily a physical stone, but it's just the same principle that the Templars. The goal is to let's say to polish your own stone, to insert into the social building. Okay, the same principle when Hindus say find the place which is already yours in this cosmic lung or pulse. Okay, so you are an alveolus and try to find back the space which is yours within this cosmic lung. Okay, this is the same principle. Just one detail, when you see, for example, even the etymology is, the sound is very close. When you hear Krishna, Christ, is very similar. And we will see many parallels in other videos with the cycles, okay? Krishna, Horus, Egyptian, Mitra, and so on and so forth, in different, let's say, spiritualities and cultures, for which systematically the mother was virgin. They arrive for for Christmas, okay, for the equinox, solstice, sorry. Then they rebirth after 3 days and so on so far. We will see the analogy with astrology as well. We will see the analogy with this cycles within 1 year. Okay, the cycles also behind of this the cycle of 2150 years. Okay, we'll see that later. Okay, Christ, not a property of Christianity, sorry to insist drastically, but concretely, when I say that, I don't want to offend anybody, but Christianity has been is history, has been used and reused with the Treaty of Nice, with Constantine, who just use Christianity because at the beginning they were victims of the Roman Empire. And then he realized that it could be a good opportunity to conquer more territories and also to unify the Empire of Rome. So that's why he embraced, let's say, but it's Theodose after who officially embraced, but Constantine revised the Holy Scriptures. That's why you have initially 55 Gospels, and after that you only have 4 of them. Reincarnation, disappear, and so on, by miracle. But anyway, the Holy Scripture, we could say. So, but what I try to tell you is there is a presence of this notion of Christ everywhere. In Islam, you have 25 times Isa, who is mentioned, evoked 48 times in the Quran, and so on. In Hinduism as well, talk to an Hindu, everybody know Isa, okay, because it's a part of of the scriptures. But what I try to tell you as well, because Christ is always associated to light or love, but lights, okay? When you see Buddha literally in Sanskrit, is all languages like Latin for Europeans. It's Sanskrit. It's Buddha means literally illuminated or enlightened. Okay, so you have also this notion of light. Why I do this parallel? Because first we will see in the future that Jesus went apparently as well to India, to Persia, and also to Tibet, and so on. So maybe he received this kind of knowledge, and maybe is a synthesis of the different philosophy of the world. But the thing is, Siddhartha Gautama, the characters who lost his son when he was 29 years old, and then he tried to start a inner journey to find the illumination after 6 years when he is 35 years old. Okay, so concretely, Buddha is not the character himself. He just reached this state of mind, and he tried to teach people for them to access to the same frequencies as the radio once again. So the same principle than Christ. And by the way, when he say, Jesus in John 14:12, when it said, I say unto you, he that believe in me will also do the works that I do, and will do greater, because I go to the Father. So concretely, what does he say? He say everybody could do the same, or even better than what I said. Okay, so I'm not a goal, a finality. I'm just an example. That's it. Very important. When he say Matthew 4:13, you are the light of the world. You, all of you are the light of the world. Or when he say, listen to that, it's super important. You are gods, and you are all sons of the Most High. What does it mean? It's clear enough. Okay, it means that we are a potential of divinity to be revealed. Well, I hope it will talk to you. Next video will be really much more intense, and it will be progressive, because we will really try to enlarge our perspective. It's extremely important topic for you to understand, and also to come back, to bounce back on this current situation. Well, I hope it will help you to shape your own master key to open up the door of whatever you want, consciousness, love, whatever. As you know now, all the words lead to Rome. and to the room and to the dome. Sorry. Bye bye.